All right, everyone. Today we are joined by Lapeer City Commissioner Stephan Brady. Stephan, I appreciate you joining me.
You're welcome. Glad to be here.
All right, awesome. So there has been a lot that has happened in the last few months. I don't think there's anybody that's paying attention in Lapeer who isn't aware of the fact that we have a new mayor, we have a new city commissioner. There's been about either 7 or 8 meetings since these changes took place. And
with some ups and downs.
Some ups and downs, especially in the beginning, right? A lot of trying to figure out. I think there were a lot of things going on, from just personality conflicts, but also specific issues that were really important, that were going to set the foundation for at least the next couple years. One of those was, are we going to continue to operate as a large body and proceed governed by the rules that one would, according to I'm blanking on the rule book. Pardon?
The famous rule book, Robert's Rules of Order.
Robert's Rules of Orders, right? Yep, which I've said a million times. But and then of course we have the charter to consider, and just there's so different moving parts. But as far as I'm aware, under the prior mayor, Deb Marquardt, and as far back as probably you can remember, it operated as like a large board, correct?
Well, there's always been like a little give and a take, right? So the whole book in general would be the rules for the large board, and that could include, a meeting of up to hundreds of people. We've got 5 commissioners, 1 mayor. Our attorney sits at the dais with us. The manager sits at the dais with us. So we're a 7-person conversation, right? 5 votes, but 7 people are trying to be involved in the conversation. So small board rules would, it would allow for that if we were an informal board. I guess my main contention with the whole large board, small board, there's 2 really. The one is, if we're going to go by small board rules, then we'll follow the whole list of small board rules. And we only pick a very select few of even those small board rules that we try to apply. Mostly the one that allows the mayor to fully participate in the discussion, which is where him and I tend to be in a little bit of a disagreement, because normally under large board, the presiding officer would pass the talking stick, right? It'd let the commissioners talk to each other, make sure that everybody knows what the motions are, declare what's the outcome of the vote, and it's just a lot more structured.
A lot of balls and strikes.
Yes, it should be just helping to host the 5 people who get to make the decision. Of course, we also have the attorney and the manager, and the charter says that the mayor has a voice in all of our proceedings, and it says that the manager can participate in all of our discussion. Different languages used between those 2 people, and the second part would just be if the mayor is actually a member of the body or not. I think you could argue probably that he is a member, but he's not a full voting member. So that's, if you're looking at my side of the argument, which is interesting, because here you and I, we can talk with each other. I feel able to uninterruptedly make my points, and you're listening to me, and you'll ask questions, and we'll try to have a dialogue. The format of this unknown large board and small board really puts me at a disadvantage in those meetings. I often feel silenced. I feel as though the rules are being put, to try to quiet my thoughts and my input into the board that I was elected for, right? They're not just my thoughts. I represent 9,000 people in the city of Lapeer. And I feel like I wish that I could say the things that I wanted to say. It's a little interesting that I'm here having a discussion with you. You and I have had kind of an at a distance relationship. I appreciate you interviewing me when I was running, but we haven't had too much interaction. But we've agreed to sit down now because I think that there's some things going on that I would like to be able to have my voice out into the public view, and I'm not confident that I can get that through in one of our meetings.
So it's been suppressed, and at least you're stating that's how you feel. And I will say, as an outside observer, I do see what I've come to recognize as a fairly familiar tactic of the mayor's, where he begins to check people for getting into his intent or his character. And he utilizes that. This is just my interpretation of what he's doing to sort of sidestep some of the actual issues that are being discussed by the commission. And I do feel like he has said as much to you, he has said as much to city manager Mike Womack that, whoa, 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 what you're doing right now is you're questioning my intent and character. I haven't seen him do that to the ones who have always voted alongside his perceived agenda.
Have you seen him restrain himself in that way?
No, I mean, so I have to admit that in the last 7 years, I paid closer attention sometimes than others. I did pay attention to how Mayor Marquardt used to handle things from time to time. It was definitely different.
Different styles.
Yeah. So this mayor, I would say, dominates the conversation. You know, you look at Commissioner Atwood, and he almost says nothing now. Again, I sort of wish I had a fuller picture and the whole like 10 years that he's been on the commission. But my guess would be that he says like less than ever these days, because by and large, the two of you in particular seem to have been silenced is a strong word, but definitely marginalized, because in almost every vote, those three women are in lockstep, as are you and Commissioner Atwood. And I don't mean anything by those three women. I'm just generalizing as best as I can to keep this conversation.
Yeah, there seems to be a block.
There does. And so, you know, that's politics, frankly, right? I get that. But I can see how, if you're trying to get your point across, never mind the voting block, at least you want to be able to express your thoughts and have dialogue. And it seems like you don't feel like you're really able to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I remember, man, back maybe it was, I believe, the December 15th meeting where there was some talk about an outside group coming in. Like maybe the Michigan Municipal League was going to have, and that's a group that Josh Atwood is very involved with. And they were going to have somebody come in and try to help you guys, given the conflict, sort of maybe meet in the middle on how to communicate with one another. What's going on with that?
Yeah. So after the rough couple of first meetings where we found our misalignment of what we were expecting as far as the boundaries and behaviors that each other was going to follow. I mean, I got censured because apparently I was being dilatory, and I understand the concern. I would never want somebody to be in there just making dilatory motions or trying to delay the process. It was more about, you know, the way the game was being played, not so much about trying to slow anything down. So the Michigan Municipal League is a group of all of the cities and townships in Michigan that want to participate. It's a huge network. This is a statewide. They send folks to Washington to lobby on behalf of citizens and cities. I had asked, and Commissioner Atwood had asked if we could bring somebody in to help us to try to, you know, figure out where the disagreements were. We had that person scheduled. We found a time that could meet. We had the people in the commission had all agreed to do it. And then there was some pushback about the way that the meeting was scheduled and what the purpose of the meeting was going to be. And this was last week, Monday. Come to find out, the only two people who really wanted to participate were myself and Commissioner Atwood. Everybody else kind of decided pretty late in the game that they were not going to participate in that. And so I was really looking forward to that as an opportunity for us. The guy was a mayor for 20 years. He was the lawyer for this large organization. He just loves to go and help pro bono. Like, this was free. This was somebody we could have had that would have helped us to, like you said, figure out those balls and strikes. Um, instead, we found ourselves in a little bit of a different situation. The mayor seems to have taken us onto a different track to try to maybe solve some of those same problems.
What's that track?
Well, I mean, you and I have talked about it a little bit, that the recent developments that we have are, well, the Bodeman, right? The decision to hire this outside legal counsel at, in my opinion, a pretty hefty price tag, to try to, but like, you're familiar with the December 15th meeting.
Very
And
much.
okay. And so in that meeting, I didn't know what any of the issue was, totally unaware of.
When did you learn?
I still am not fully brought up to speed.
Okay.
So we've now received a bill. You can look in our packet online, and you can see that we have been charged $1,300, and you're going to see just a bill. I mean, we're literally being asked to approve this bill. Now, in the December 15th meeting, there was no direction given. I asked the question directly. I had to repeat the question to the attorney. Right after that, Commissioner Atwood repeated the question again, and the question was, who is Bodman going to take direction from? And the consistent, repeated verbal answer from the mayor, from the attorney, from everybody in the room was the commission, which is a unified body. We don't do. If I just say, I'm going to go and do something, I'm not speaking for the commission. I'm not speaking for the commission right now. I'm just Stephan Brady. I'm just, a citizen. I'm a commissioner. I'm not. But I don't have any weight to my discussion right now. When we decide, when we get together and we make a formal vote, that's when we act as the commission. And we haven't. We haven't had any direction given, but we do have the mayor on a phone call with the lawyer, with Commissioner Petrie, $1,000 phone call, right? It's $1,000 phone call. And I don't know what was discussed. I was not privileged to be a part of that phone call. I don't know what they discussed. I don't know if they gave directions to start any other process, any other work. I believe that some other work may have been started, but I haven't seen it yet. In a couple of days, on Monday, I'm going to be asked to pay that bill, basically for work that. And if you get on the line and see the packet, you can see Mike Womack's letter where he basically says the same thing. He said he hasn't seen the work. He doesn't know what was done. He did not have any participation in the process. We're asking him to pay that bill.
So I remember at that December 15th meeting, first off, there was somebody, it may have been Commissioner McCarthy, who I'll give some grace because she was also brand new. I think she was ready to give the mayor a $25,000 or a $40,000 check to do this when Commissioner Atwood spoke up and said, does anybody know what's actually allocated in the budget to use for outside counsel? It turned out to be $10,000. That motion eventually gets put on the table. You don't want it there. He doesn't want it there, but Commissioners Petrie, McCarthy, and Glissman go ahead and approve it. So now we have approval for $10,000 to be used on special counsel, but still at this point, as the city attorney said, as seems clear to so many others that have been involved in local government for quite some time, whether or not that money's been approved or not, it's the city commission that should be having discussions with the Attorney Bodman, and guiding him as to what he should be doing in order to earn those monies. And that would be very difficult for you guys to even do when there is no closed door meeting, because that's one thing the mayor keeps saying is, I cannot reveal right here and now what this is about, because it's about uh, a employee, um, and the only employee that the city commission has direct oversight of, if I'm not mistaken, would be city manager Mike Womack, and
That's true.
everybody else that works for the city works at the pleasure of Mike Womack. So you guys don't get to tell
Right.
Rodney Church what to do. You don't get to tell Ramona Sanchez what to do. Mike Womack does that. So
Yeah. So we don't, I'm a teacher. I don't work for the city full time. I'm not able to devote full time attention to what the employees are doing. Not only that, there are 10 different departments. There's finance, there's taxes, there's fire department. There's even those departments have department heads, and they pass information up to Mike Womack. And then Mike Womack is the single point of contact that we have. We are his boss. He is everybody else's boss. And so, like I can't possibly run around at all the different parts of the city trying to do those things. And the interesting thing is that um, it's the job description of the city manager is in the charter. It's like specifically laid out what this person's supposed to be doing. Um, the mayor's jobs are laid out exactly what the mayor's supposed to be doing. It seems to me it would be evident to anybody who's reading the charter. But I'm also not a lawyer, right? Like it's hard for me to. I read it one way, Hing reads it another way. Um, you know, Womack probably reads it another way, right? And we all have to try to figure out what that means. The question is, is that something that we need? Is that something that the commission should decide? Is that something that the mayor should be involved in? Is that something that our own attorney could do? Is that something that we need extra attorney to do? And at least right now, the direction of the commission was to engage, to sign an engagement letter. It was very clear on December 15th, to sign the engagement letter. What are you going to do? You're going to have all 5 commissioners sign the piece of paper. We have a mayor who signs the paper on our behalf. It's the executive. So we've done that, but we've not given them any direction. We don't know what it is that they're supposed to do. But apparently we've been given a bill for whatever work they've already started.
So come Monday, that bill, like you say, there will be a motion made, right, to have that bill paid. Will that get lumped in? Because I watch you guys sort of make these early blanket, pay all these bills at once, and it's $2 million, blah, blah, blah. Will it get lumped in with that?
Okay, so there's a couple things. There's a consent agenda, which never includes money.
Okay.
Special event, parade, just things but if anything that has to do with money, see, I have a fiduciary duty. I have to know, and I have to put the interest of the city first. Like that's my job. I'm there to protect the fiduciary interest of the city. And so anytime there's a spending, that's a roll call vote. We've gotten into the practice where we now do roll call vote for everything. But if you remember back when we had Mayor Marquardt, only the money was going to get a vote, where they call everybody's name. So that it will be separate. I think it's item G3 or something like that. It's kind of separated down and away from the rest of it.
Okay. And now what I am going to forecast will happen is one of likely Commissioner Petrie will make a motion to pay that bill. Commissioner McCarthy will second. That'll open up the opportunity for discussion. And some people on the commission will want to know why. What are we paying for? But at the end of the day, after all that discussion takes place, whether or not you get that information or not, if Commissioner Petrie, McCarthy, and Glissman want to approve it, as they have essentially been doing these last 3-4 months since the mayor took over, we won't get any answers that day about what that money was spent on.
Yeah, I would agree. And that's part of the reason I agreed to interview with you is I won't even Tim, I'm not even convinced I'll be able to even ask the questions.
Yeah.
Um, and it's really unfortunate. It feels like the people should be able to find out. And people can come to our meetings. We have 3 minutes. You're allowed 3 minutes. It's not easy. It's nerve wracking. You stand there, and it's very formal feeling. Sometimes tensions are high, and you want to hold your government accountable. But you know, we're not. I would just encourage people not to be too online about this. If this is something that concerns you, right? Like you can type your comments if you want to. Just know that they stay in the comment section. I don't know. There's not much that I feel like I can do in a situation, and that's really it's hard. It's like I signed up for this because I thought I could do a good job. Well, I actually, I ran because something similar had happened with our previous administration, and I thought to myself, hey, I think we can work through this. We should be able to work together for the good of the city, and that's what I've been doing for the past 2 years. I haven't made all the friends. I've actually probably lost friends on both sides, but that's okay. I'm doing what I think is right. I wish that I was able to participate, bring up these questions, have them answered, and I don't think that you'll see that. I think the desire to get what they want overrides the desire to afford any opposing opinions. The question is for me is, who's privileged? Who's in this attorney-client privilege? Um, I don't know what they've had as far as discussion with this other attorney. I've not had any contact with them at all.
And when you say they, you can only really speculate that it's Mayor Hing and Commissioner Petrie, because that was in the bill. There was a phone call that involved them, but that's not the commission.
Correct.
So yeah, it is, I would say, as somebody who just sits back and watches and is trying to keep score and keep track and hold the city accountable, even for me, that is difficult to do when there are votes being cast and money being spent, and then those bills get approved, but there's no like invoice as to what was this spent on. And furthermore, we do still have this, what recourse, the question I would have, and I don't think you can answer it, but if the mayor goes above and beyond and takes action that isn't outlined in the charter for him to take, and he steps over the commission itself, what's the recourse? If you have a commission that's going to rubber stamp anything and everything he does, what does your average person in Lapeer do? But I guess maybe show up to those meetings, keep paying attention, keep speaking out.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder how close we are tiptoeing to actual legal overstep. This we're now at the point where we're spending money. Um, geez, I can't say the word inappropriate, so let me choose my words wisely here. Unauthorized. I believe that there was an unauthorized use of city funds. And whether I could even bring that up, that would get immediately shut down. I know going into it, there's 3 votes against me, not because of any argument, just because it's me bringing a challenge. Um, at some point, does a prosecutor get involved? I don't know. That's you're now talking, beyond where I even want to go. I want us to figure out how to work together. I want us to figure out, goodness, if you just would have came to me and said, during that December 15th meeting, whatever they started work, if you just would have explained to me that, I would have had information. I could have voted with. I could have gone along with
Yeah.
whatever not investigation, whatever they're trying to accomplish, right? But I don't even know what that is. I still don't even know if there's an end goal or what the goal is.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we get more answers Monday night, and maybe we'll get this MML meeting back on the schedule someday. Uh, at the end of the day, it's in the entire city's and really county's best interest that y'all function as a unit as opposed to the kind of fractured body that you are. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens in a couple days. Um, that said, I don't know if you have any other thoughts you want to get out, but I appreciate
No.
your time for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate I've seen, a lot of your content that you're following along with it, that you had questions, and, I was looking for, somebody that I could talk to about it. So I guess, it works out pretty good.
Anytime.
Yep.
Anytime, you're always welcome. And again, thank you. I really do appreciate you coming on to share your thoughts.
Yep. Yep. All right, Tim. Bless you, man.
All right. Yep. You have a great day.